I am Melvin with FandomWire. I am so sorry, guys, about this tech problem. Third time's a charm, apparently. You know what I found so interesting about the fact that this is about a cult is obviously, and it's a cult that's obviously worried about the state of the planet. And they're obviously, like in any cult, the leader is gonna try and attract people who care about this type of problem. But what I found so interesting is that we see how much we as a society still need to follow leaders like that and still need to have some sort of messiah to just like helps justify how we feel. And I mean, it's 2024 and hopefully we have access to enough information and have some education. And we still need people like that who will, take advantage of us and of our minds. And I was wondering, for you two as actors who have been in this story, especially you, Sadie, who is this young girl who is kind of attracted by this cult, why do you think we as a society still feel the need to be led by someone into believing things and just like mess up with our minds basically?
I mean, I think it's kind of a helpless time that we're in where it feels like but we'll just take like kind of like the issue of the planet, for example. It's such a big issue that you feel so small in and helpless in, and you want to do something, but how much can one person do is the question. And I think especially for this generation that I'm in, we're constantly trying to find what's the right thing to do, how do we protect the future. um,
Mm.
and so that need for a leader, for someone who has kind of this larger than life presence that can make you feel like your participation in one small way can contribute to a bigger mission,
Mm.
is so enticing. And it's such a malicious angle for this cult to have taken, to take something, this message of, providing good for the earth, and, obviously not doing that. It's yeah, very a different kind of evil for sure.
What about you, Eric?
Yeah, I love the psychology behind it. I love the notion that someone can find a cult because they're kind of rejecting sort of the societal norms and the
Mm.
embedded sort of structures. Then how much we're just kind of ingrained to be a slave to a hierarchy and to a structure, and that in a cult, that's how it works. Like you have your leader and you have this kind of structural system, and then everything kind of like falls into place. And I think, as human beings, we do have this kind of inherent need for
Yeah.
structure and order, even if we kind of pretend like we don't. I always found that really fascinating.
And Sadie, you get to some really dark places and really dark scenes in this movie, beautifully done. What would you say was the most challenging one for you? And a question actually for you too, Eric, is what is a scene that when reading the script you thought, this might be a little complex, and then arriving on set, you're like, okay, this is going to be so intense. I don't know how we're going to be able to pull that off,
Yeah, that's always the case. I feel like I shoot myself in the foot so many times because I'll read something, and when you're reading a script start to finish, it makes so much sense in the context, and you're just kind of following the pace of it. So when it says like, oh, like, you're gonna have to be doing this, it doesn't really phase me in the moment.
Yeah.
And then you get to set, or you're rehearsing a stunt for something, and it's like, oh, I read that completely wrong, or oh, I thought when it wrote that like I was doing this, it meant
Yeah.
something else. So there's always some surprises, but yeah, no, it's never what I think it's gonna be for sure.
So you're always in for a surprise. What about you, Eric?
Yeah, same. And I agree with Sadie. Sometimes you read the script, you go, oh, that's amazing. That's going to be amazing on the day, but you don't think about it too much. And then
Mm.
sometimes it's so intimidating that I don't like to kind of like overthink it, because then you start really freaking yourself out. Like there's a
Mm.
sequence towards the end where my character turns up to try and find Mazzy, and I knew that was going to be very, very difficult to shoot
Mm.
in terms of energy and pacing and structure, and you almost can't think about it too much and kind of surrender yourself to that little mini rehearsal you get the day or two before, and then try and shoot it, because also you don't know what the director wants to do and so forth. So I found over the
Mm.
years, like, just being really open and just going, it'll work out. Just surrender yourself on the day, and don't panic about it until the day kind of works.
Somehow it will work out. It will all
Yeah.
be fine. But Eric, I know you also produced a movie. When a project like this comes along, what makes you think, what makes you say, I don't want to just be a character in the story. I need to be more involved in that.
Oh, I feel a real sense of protection as an actor for writers and directors. So it usually get involved on that level when I read something and I really want to champion the film and help it get it made, and try and protect all the choices that the director is making and the filmmaker. So that I feel really passionate about that, especially when the filmmaker has a real interesting take that's really intellectualized and spoken. So yeah, that's when I feel like everyone's as passionate as I am. It's where I want to get involved on that level.
And Sadie, I just want to go back for a second to the fact that when you arrive in this cult and there's a character of Sophie who is the cult leader, what did it feel like for you, like staring at her and listening to her and being like sort of mesmerized and hypnotized by her? What did you feel like as an actress?
Yeah, I mean, Sophie is who plays Hilma. She's such an incredible actress. And I remember filming like the first scene where we come in contact, and I definitely felt that sense of like, oh, I would totally drink this Kool-Aid. Like she's really she's
Yeah.
smart, and there is like this warmth that she portrays so well.
Yeah.
She feels so human and so nurturing. And I think for someone like Mazzy, who maybe hasn't had that feeling of like safety and really being understood and nurtured, to her that felt like, oh, I've like found my person. Like this person is like looking me in the eye and choosing me. um and I think people will do a lot just to feel special, to feel like they're a part of something, and it can really be anyone. But yeah, she definitely nailed that role for sure, and hard to play, but to have that kind of yeah, charismatic, alluring presence was definitely key.
And that's what's so dangerous about these people. They just make everybody feel special, and
Mhm.
that's where they get everyone involved, and it's kind of crazy. But guys, they're giving me the wrap. Thank you so much for joining me today. Sorry about the tech problem.
No
Really sorry
worries.
about
We
that.
got there in the
And
end. Nice to meet you.
it
Nice to
did,
meet you.
yeah.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for your time. See you soon, hopefully.